Hi everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are continuing our top 100 countdowns, starting with number 20. But as always, before we get started, please like the video if you like this type of content, consider subscribing to the channel, and of course hitting that bell icon if you want notification of future content.
Or you can follow the link below and follow us on all of our social media. So the top 20.
Top 20. We're getting close.
I feel all the games in these next 20 games, if somebody say, hey, let's play that game, I'd be at the table setting it up.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd be like, yep, okay, no problem.
Absolutely.
None of these games is going to be like going, I don't know if I feel like it or not.
Yeah.
No, every one of these I think is, yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
Some of them might have to sit down and say, how do we play this again?
I don't remember the specifics of the rules, but we'll figure it out as we go.
Mm-hmm.
It'll come back to me quickly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get started. My number 20 is another entry from the Azul collection. This is by far my favorite of the four. This is Azul Summer Pavilion.
Oh,
this was the third in the series. This one looks like a series of flowers on your board with one central flower, and the idea is that each flower is a different color petal, and the middle has to be all 6 colors. You are drafting all of the tiles just like you do in every other Azul. The difference with this one is you can actually save tiles from one to one. You don't have to place them out immediately.
Well, you can save 4.
You can save 4 between rounds.
4 spots on your board you can put them.
But more importantly, you're drafting. All the drafting is done at once. Well, throughout. And then once all the drafting is done, now you put them out into your garden. So you're not having to place them immediately as you draft them, which is good because when you get some of those petals require 6 tiles to place. There's also wild tiles in this one, so every round a different color is a wild tile and can be something different. So that makes it a little easier to get those 5s and 6s done on the petals. So the way the petals work is one spot, and you don't have to do them in order, but one spot requires 1 tile to lay down. One spot requires you to have 2 to lay down, then 3, 4, 5, and 6. You score based on how many are connected when you place down 1. That's your score for it, similar to the original. As you're filling stuff in between the flowers, you're getting special bonuses. There's a central board where you can pull extra tiles off of as you're getting these bonuses. We found that we were forgetting the bonuses sometimes, so I just grabbed a bunch of clear garden stones to put in the game, and they just stay in the game permanently now. And as we take a bonus, we put the clear garden stone over that bonus icon so that we know we took it. Yeah, so there's no questions later on. I love this one. There's no way to finish the board. You're not going to finish all 7 flowers. There's just no way to do it. But yeah, I absolutely love this one. It is my favorite. But yeah, that is my number 20, Azul Summer Pavilion.
Okay. My number 20 is technically a crossover with my own number 76. And it was one of yours from last round, I believe. I didn't write that down. This is Lost Ruins of Arnak, but this is with the Missing Expeditions expansion. This changes the game completely from the base game, but with the expansion, the way it changes it into a co-op and completely changes the game, I like it a lot better. So we've already discussed everything about it in an earlier video. Go check it out.
23. It was my 23. So
it was your 23. So this last video, go check it. Well, no, my 76 I probably talked about too, though.
Probably.
But for number 20, this is the Lost Ruins of Arnak, the Missing Expeditions. The first expansion that made a top 20, I think.
Yeah.
Because without the expansion, it's my 76. So.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, my number 19 is one that we've touched on briefly, but it has not been on either list. I don't think so. If it is, I did not mark it down as a crossover. But this one has a unique, it has the same mechanism as Meadow. This is Quadropolis. This is more of a city builder, whereas Meadow is more of a nature walk. But it has that same choice mechanism where you have so many options to choose from. You have a grid of 4x4 and you are putting down your marker on the edge of the board. So if you place down your marker number 3, then you are choosing the tile that is 3 spaces over from the direction you went. The difference with this one is that you have 2 pieces that are moving around the board, and you cannot place your token into a row or column that piece exists. Right. So it is a blocker of sorts. The board does not refill till the end of the round. I think there's 4 or 5 rounds in the game. But the tiles are giving you different scoring advantages. It may say that one tile needs to be near something else, whereas other tiles need to build up upon themselves. Some of them require people to work those tiles. Others require energy to fuel those tiles. It's just a really interesting game. I've always liked this one. I've liked the scoring mechanism and trying to figure out that puzzle of the scoring, but yet having that tile placement and the tile choices that are blocked by other players. Because I really need that level. I need that number 2 from this direction, but somebody's already there. So I can't get it. How else can I get that tile? Can I come from below or above or from the other side? Just a really interesting mechanism. So I think that's one of the reasons I really like Meadow is that same mechanism exists. But yeah, that is my number 19, Quadropolis.
Okay, my number 19 is another crossover, but not with myself this time. This is your number 78. This is the hottest Days of Wonder game out right now. This is Heat Pedal to the Metal.
Mine was that far down?
Yes.
Really?
I'm appalled.
I didn't think mine was that far down.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, in Heat, as we've talked, this is a lot like people compare it to Formula D. Why did I do that? The Formula D's right back there.
And Heat's right under it.
And Heat's right under it. Anyway, though, but you have a handful of cards, which is your engine. You are playing cards each turn, depending on what gear you're in. If you go through a turn at a higher number than the turn ranks it at, you're taking that much more heat and putting it into your discard deck, and now it's heat into your hand when it comes up, and it stays in your hand until you're actually able to cool off.
Yeah, there's ways to cool off.
There's different ways to cool off, so it's clogging up your deck until it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a lot of fun. This is a game that even if you jump out to a big lead, you're not guaranteed you're going to win this game because in just a turn, the lead could change.
Oh, yeah.
If you fall behind, just keep plugging along because you could catch them.
Oh, yeah. You wait till you get into one of those straightaways and just plan appropriately, and you're going to catch them.
Yep.
I love this
We've only played the base setting of it. I mean, we've played different maps, but we have not added into the advanced stuff or the scenarios or nothing of it. And it has a new expansion coming out soon.
Does it?
That adds rain.
Oh. We're going to add weather to the mix now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, the whole box is the race cars on the track, and it's pouring down rain on them.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like an F1 race now.
Fun.
So this is Heat, my number 19.
Yeah, I love this one. It's a good one. All right. And I'm not a race fan by any stretch. So that should say something. All right. My number 18 is one that we picked up this past year. I don't think it's a 2023 release, though. It might have been. I don't remember now. We picked it up at Gen Con, played it, picked it up almost immediately thereafter. This is another city builder, but this one you are playing with tiles that are made up of various hex tiles. This is Acropolis. Acropolis it's just an interesting city builder where each tile, each color scores differently. Each piece is made up of 3 hex tiles. And each hex tile could have 1 or 2 different color pieces on it, 1 or 2 different color city pieces. It's like the green is residential, the red is security, or what is that called? It's not security.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I thought it was like the fire department or something like that. I don't remember.
Basically, they're meant to, like the red wants to be around the outside of the edge. Military, thank you. Because they need to be around the outside edge of the city so they can protect the city. The green wants to be clumped together because it's all residential. The yellow is some of your markets, so they want to be individual and spread out so that they don't have to compete with each other as much. So there's, I think, 5 or 6 different colors altogether.
The temples need to be surrounded.
Temples have to be completely surrounded.
Purple.
Yep. So you can build up in layers, and each layer, the different colors are worth more points based on the layer they're on. So if you can get those purple temples up to the 3rd layer and completely surrounded, you're going to get more points out of it. Same with the residential and such. So it's just such an interesting tableau, or not tableau builder, but city builder using these icons. And of course, all of the tiles are done with a drafting mechanism. So you're drafting them out of a center supply, but if you don't take that first one, from there on, it takes building materials to get to the later ones in line. You get the building materials by building up. So it's just an interesting game. I really love the puzzle of this one. But yeah, that is my number 18, Acropolis.
My number 18 is probably one of the hardest co-ops that we own. We've had this one for a long time. We've gotten one of the expansions. We had a shot at 2 of them, but we only grabbed one at that time.
Oh.
This is Ghost Stories.
Okay.
This has been redone as the last Bastion. This is probably one of my favorite cooperative games that we have. We have not won this game a lot. This is a hard game for people to win, period. Yeah, like I said, it's been remade as Last Bastion, which has streamlined a lot of stuff, and it's a little easier to win, but
I've still heard people prefer Ghost Stories.
Play Ghost Stories.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the challenge of trying to get this to work.
Yeah, I love the theme of it. I really do, and you're right. The challenge is something else.
You're fighting off all the spirits and ghosts just to get to the Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Wu-Fang. Not the Wu-Tang Clan. It's the Wu-Fang Clan. But you're trying to get to them to take them out so you can win the game. And we've won this a few times, but we have not. We've played it a lot more than we've won it.
Every time we've won it, it has been by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah, you get the, what is it, a 3x3 grid in the middle of village places to go to, and each village is going to allow you to do something there, or when you ask for help, that person's going to be able to help you out with places, and then you can also fight the monsters in the areas as long as they're adjacent to you. So you move around and you pick up different things that you need, like getting your
their tokens.
Your tokens back, the yin yang token back to do a certain power.
They give you
and stuff.
Powers.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But yep, that is Ghost Stories. My number 18.
18.
Yes.
All right, my number 17 is one we actually just got to play again last night. My number 18 is Cascadia. We pulled this out last night along with the new expansion, Landmarks.
Landmarks.
Gosh, I had to stop thinking about what it was called. Super good game, and Landmarks just makes it better. I think it gives it a little more strategy. So with this one, very popular game based in the Pacific Northwest. You've got 5 different animal types and 5 different landscape types that you are putting into your area, your board. Each turn you are drafting 1 landscape tile and 1 animal tile and putting those into your board. Now the animal tile doesn't necessarily have to go onto the landscape tile, and in fact in most cases it can't. Each landscape tile says exactly what animals can be placed there. So you're trying to get your landscape tiles laid out in ways that it will help you score, because the bigger areas you have, the more you're going to score for them in the long run. Meanwhile, your animals, there are 5 different animal cards laid out at the start of the game, and with the expansion you now have, I think, 7 different options for scoring for each animal. So there's a lot of different options for variability here in terms of how each individual animal is going to score and how you're going to match them up among all 5. So you're trying to match up each of these scoring cards for your animals. You're trying to get the biggest terrains together, which is not an easy task sometimes, into your board. But meanwhile, the expansion adds more cards to it. As soon as you got 5 tiles put together in that habitat, you could claim a landmark. Each person can only claim each one of the 5 landmarks once. Each landmark represents one of the terrain types. But you would claim that landmark token, put it on the tile you just placed, which means you can never put an animal there. So it's that give and take. Do I need this here? Do I need that animal here more than I need to claim that card for endgame scoring for the landmark?
Right. It gives it a push your luck.
It really does.
Mechanic to it, because it's like, I could take it right now. I really want that card. But she could take it right now too if she leaves another one there, and she could take that card.
But I really need that salmon here to finish my run, or I need that bear here to finish my set.
That's when you weigh the points. Is that salmon going to get me more points than that card's going to give me if I get it now?
Yeah. So, very interesting expansion to it. I'm glad we got a chance to play it last night. Very interesting game. I love it. Very big puzzle, very easy to play, easy to learn, easy to play, but I feel like there's a lot of strategy in this one, especially with all the variability of the different scoring options. So, but yeah, that is my number 17, right? Yes, 17, Cascadia.
My number 17 is my favorite of the tea games, and it was actually one of the very first ones that we had bought.
Oh.
This is... Do you know?
Well, the very first one we bought was Zulkin.
No,
but I don't think that's it.
No.
No?
Tikenu Obelisk of the Sun was the first one we actually bought.
Okay.
But this is all about...
my favorite of all
This
of them.
is a worker placement game where... And it's a dice placement.
Dice placement, yeah.
The dice can be your workers. Kind of. But you are drafting dice. You're rolling dice. You're putting them out depending on where the sun phase is around the obelisk. Depending on whether they are usable or not usable, because of where you put it at is which side of the scale you put it on at the bottom. So you're trying to keep your balanced scale, because you're going to lose points if you're not balanced on your scale when you place your dice. But the dice are going to give you an idea of where you can go on the board to either like build buildings, or go up and build a temple, or build a temple for the gods, or get your happiness up. There's so many different working pieces that you need to go here to get this, so then when you go here, you can get a better thing out of doing this one, because if you have that and you go over here, now this is going to be really favorable for you. But I love those kinds of games. So yeah, this is Tikenu Obelisk of the Sun. My number, what is that, 17?
17.
17.
Yeah, I don't think any of them made my list.
Because you don't like those games.
I do like those games, but apparently not as much as I like everything else. So, I don't know. But yeah, of the tea games that we have, this is definitely my favorite.
You like Azul better than the tea games.
Yeah? What's wrong with that? All right, my number 16 is a relative to one of yours from last round, but it's not a direct crossover. This is a relative to Race for the Galaxy. This is New Frontiers.
Oh.
New Frontiers is the board game version of Race for the Galaxy. It plays very similar. You've actually got a center board, though, with spots for various planets, and you actually have planet pieces, planet tiles that go out around your board that you are drafting and colonizing throughout the game. It plays very similar in mechanic-wise to Race for the Galaxy or Roll for the Galaxy, for that matter. Same basic concept. I just like the more tactile feel of the board and the planets and the tiles and all of that stuff that goes with it.
You like the bigger box.
Sure. I'm looking forward to playing this. It is a much bigger box. Yes, it is a much bigger box. So I'm looking forward to playing this when we get to the ends. We meant to play it last year for Gen Con, and unfortunately just never got around to it. But yeah, that is New Frontiers, my number 16.
I didn't know you liked it that much.
Oh, I love this game.
My number 16 is a game we don't have.
That's helpful.
There you go. Next. This is the game we don't have. We've played it a couple times. We were asked to play it, and so we could teach it to the people who actually owned it.
Okay, that's usually Justin and Jackie. But I feel like every game they've asked us to teach them, we've ended up buying.
This is Tricarion.
Oh, okay. I should not be surprised this is on your list.
Yeah, Tricarion, Legends of the Illusions. This is all about crafting spells to be able to take it to a show at night to perform your
magic
points.
show.
And in the game, you are sending out workers that you are actually building eventually as you go through. You're going to gain workers, and you have little spots for them. And these workers can do certain things for you, like go get the supplies you need for spells, or other items that you need for the spells, or get the spells, period. The best thing about this game...
Well, it's not spells, they're magic tricks, right?
Tricks, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's Tricarion, but it's...
Yeah, it's a magic show.
It's like, yeah. Anyway, they got it. Anyway, the best part of this whole game is that each character has its own player book.
Okay.
That has all of his tricks that he can do and explains all of his tricks, what he can do. But also in the book, it tells you the different places on the board, what they do, and gives you a strategy. Is like going, well, if I go there and do this, because it's my character, I can do a little extra there. But it gives you a way to go in this game. It helps you along if you've never played it before, though. But
I don't remember much about this one.
I mean, there's a dark alley you can go down to, which I believe is actually an expansion that comes with it to get the darker tricks to do. And you can only do a certain amount of tricks depending on how many people you have.
Right, you got to hire your people.
Yep, and you've got to get the people in there, so because you don't want to be the late night show, you want to be the front show because that's where you're going to get the most points. Yeah. But this is so cool because to me it almost feels like a pickup delivery because I got to send guys out to pick this up and bring it back so I can use it to do something. But yeah, so because you have to do the spells or the tricks, you've got to have the components you need for the tricks. So it's in your supply, and then you only have a certain amount of spots in your supply to be able to hold.
Supplies,
to do different things, like, okay, I can't do this trick because I don't have this, but I don't have any places in my storage to do all the tricks, but I want to do these tricks. I do have this stuff, so I'm going to take these tricks, go to the theater, and put on this show. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you want to give me this copy, somebody, I will be more than happy to take it. That is Tricarion, Legends of the Illusions, my number 16.
Okay, my number 15 is a small two-player game. We picked this one up on a fluke because we were looking for a good two-player game, which is how we end up with most of our two-player games, actually.
I have to say, that doesn't narrow it down.
No, it does not. This one involves putting pipelines together.
No.
Oh.
This was one of mine already.
Was this a crossover?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
What do you think it is?
Curious Cargo.
No.
What other game do we have that's putting pipelines together?
My number 15 is Botanic, or Botnik.
Oh.
Or
you're putting a machine together.
But it's pipeline. It's still pipes.
Okay.
A different colored pipes, but still pipes.
They have plants.
They are plants. You didn't let me get that far before you said, oh, like you knew what it was already.
You said pipelines, so.
Because it's pipes.
It's plants.
Anyway. So with this one, you are putting together, each player is putting together their own set of pipes or plants or whatever you want to call it. I mean, yes, the game is called Botanic or Botnik. I don't know which. So there's a central supply of tiles where every player is drafting from. That tile is then taken and put onto the center board on their side, where later on it's going to hopefully be released. You can't put it into your network, your pipeline network or your plant network, whatever we want to call it, until it's released from the center board. And your tile remains there until it is released from the center board. When you are drafting your tiles, you have two choices. You can either put them into your side of the central board, or you can put them into the center to release tiles. There's certain rules that have to be in place to release them. They have to be the same color or the same same design. But once your tile is released, then you can put it into your network. Somebody wants attention over there. So anyway, just a very interesting 2-player game. The game ends when the tiles are out, and then you score up the number of flowers you have in your network and your pipeline network.
Go on.
I agree.
Don't let him distract you.
Anyway, that is my number 15, Botanic or Botanic or whatever.
So my number 15 is Groot. Yes, he's a heck of a game to play. You want to pronounce our? You want to say what our 15 is? No, you're going to be camera shy now. What's our number 15? So I'm going to get it back now. Okay, so my number 15 is a cooperative. Well, actually, it's not cooperative. Well, it is a cooperative team game. Because there's two.
You're kind of waffling here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It has a trader in it.
Oh, Lord.
It could be mini traders in it. And I am always
the Cylon.
The Cylon.
But
not until the second half. This is Battlestar Galactica, the board game. This has been, the gameplays we've had has been a total blast. I normally start off as a normal player playing the game, and it is until halfway. Because during the halfway point, you are dealt out new cards as to what you are, and I always end up being a new Cylon. So
yeah.
You are trying to make a certain amount of jumps
to get to Earth.
To get to the new Earth.
It's Earth, period.
Is it Earth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the basis on this is the original Battlestar, well, it's the remake of Battlestar Galactica, based on the original series from the 70s, where
the one that you like.
They left the 12 colonies, which are ironically named after all of our signs. 12, 13 colonies. The 13th colony was Earth.
Oh, okay.
And Earth, though that colony set out long ago and disappeared across the galaxy. And once the original 12 colonies were destroyed by the Cylons, what was left of the inhabitants banded together and trekked across trying to find the 13th colony, i.e. us.
Okay. Now that we've gone to history for that. Anyway, you are, like you said, they are trying to make the jumps to get to Earth, and the people who are the Cylons, depending on how many players you have, are trying to stop you.
Yeah, you're trying to get the resources and everything together to make the jump.
Yeah, because everybody is trying to figure out who the Cylons are, and the Cylons are trying to blame other people and not make it sound like they're blaming other people to get away from it. I mean, because when we played this, Adil pegged me as a Cylon right out of the gate at the very beginning of the game, and I was not a Cylon at that point. I'm going.
He was by the end of the game.
I was by the end of the game, and the Cylons are now 2-0 in this game.
Yeah.
We've played it twice. I want to play it more, but it's a little bit to get off the shelf because you got to get a lot of people over to play it.
Yeah, it's a 3+ game. We've only ever played it 6-player, which is the best way to play it.
Yeah, the more players, the better, I think.
And both plays have been so epic. I don't remember anything about the gameplay itself. I just remember the reveals. And I think that's the big draw to this game, is that reveal of when everybody figures out he's the Cylon. Oh, it was just, both games have been hysterical.
Yep, because the first one I got thrown in jail, and then I conned Linda out of getting me out of jail and throw Tony in jail, saying that she was the Cylon, and Tony was actually not the Cylon. She was the captain of the ship, and then I caused the last mission to fail, which lost you guys the game and won me the game.
Yep. Well, you and Joey. Wasn't Joey
Yes.
the other Cylon?
Yeah, but it's my epic piece of that.
Your epic reveal. Yeah, it was great. It's a good one. I did not make my list, which is shocking because the original series, that being said, I've never watched the remake of the series. We won't go into why.
So that's Battlestar Galactica, the board game, my number 15.
My number 14 is the only crossover I have on this set of 10. This was your number 36. This is all about the birds. This is Wingspan. Wingspan was one, it came out with a lot of hype, and we kind of just set it aside as hype. waited to see if it would fade before we really decided to check it out. And of course it did not fade. So we did check it out and fell in love with it. This game it's educational, it's worker placement, it's an interesting game. So with Wingspan, you have a tableau of 3 by 15 3 different habitat areas, 5 cards in each, room for 5 birds in each habitat. You are placing out your cubes, or in our case, we have little bird houses, to do one of 4 different actions. Playing a bird from your hand down into one of the 3 habitats and paying whatever resources are necessary for the bird. Each bird requires different resources, whether it be fish or rats or worms or grain or whatever. Depending on how far over you are in the habitat, you may have to pay a couple eggs as well. Mm-hmm. And you get the eggs by an action further down. You can get resources, which is taking a die out of the bird feeder and claiming the resources off of that die. Again, the more birds you have over, the stronger that action is in that habitat. So you might be able to claim 2 or even 3 resources per turn. Then you can also lay eggs. Again, the more birds you have in a habitat, the stronger your action is, and you can lay eggs on any of the birds that will allow you to. Mm-hmm. And then the last one is drawing more cards. So you can draw more cards in order to put into your hand. But the big thing is each time you do an action, if I do an egg action, I do that action, I lay my eggs out, but then I start at the very far end of that row, and whatever birds I have down, I can trigger going backwards. So I can trigger the action that says, hey, draw a card off the top of the deck if it's under a 50-foot wingspan. Put it under this bird.
50-foot wingspan?
I'm sorry. 50-inch.
That's a big bird. What is it, a pterodactyl?
I meant 50-inch. Wow, yeah, that's a big wingspan.
I'm not going around birds ever again. 50 foot?
Oh my God. 50-inch. If it's under 50 inches. Oh boy, okay.
Maybe in worm span.
Maybe that's where I was.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, anyway.
My sparrow has a 50-foot wingspan.
Anyway, oh my gosh, okay. Or you can, okay, so some of them will allow you to claim extra resources. Some will allow you to give resources to other people in exchange for doing something. Lots of different actions on each of the birds. I love the fact that how educational this is, because it gives a lot of facts about the birds. And there's so many different expansions now that bring more and more birds into it. So that's really kind of neat. But anyway, meanwhile, you're trying to meet goals each round, and whoever has, the
largest wingspan,
then you can, never mind. Anyway, that's my number 14, wingspan, aka apparently a worm span.
Okay, my number 14. I don't think there's anything in this game that could hold up to a bird with a 50-foot wingspan. My number 14 is a space game.
Okay.
It's, as people say, Twilight Imperium Light.
That one made your list too, huh? But it's higher than Twilight Imperium. Wow, okay.
It is higher. Well, I haven't played Twilight Imperium in a while.
That's true.
So
That's true.
This is Eclipse, New Dawn of the Galaxy. This is the first edition of it. We have not played the second edition because we're scared if we do it, we'll want to play it, and we've got everything for the first edition already.
We'll want to buy it, yeah.
But this is all about building your technologies and upgrading your ships and discovering new worlds to get more resources, and there are battles that can take place in there, which the last time we played this, we played with 4. Yes. There was 4 of us, and me and Ben had one epic battle at the end, because throughout the entire game, we were like a planet space apart, and we just sat there and amassed our armies. In the final round, we decided we're attacking.
Didn't Connor win this one?
I think Connor won the game, but me and Ben beat each other up. I beat Ben, though. But yeah, this is a lot of fun because you are keeping track of how much money you have, how many of the different resources you have, because you're paying those to either go out and explore, to upgrade your ship, to get new technologies for your ship, which is upgrade your ship, is the same thing. New sciences to do other things, but it's taking the resources, taking the money. But the whole time you are also paying a action token to do the different things on the board, and depending on how far you go down, you're going to end up paying that much money the next round. But so it's I don't know. I just really like playing this game.
It is a good one. I do really enjoy it.
Now, we did play this long before we ever played Twilight Imperium.
Oh, yeah. We had this one a long time ago.
But yeah, that is... I gotta remember the right version of it. Eclipse, Dawn of a New Galaxy. My number 14.
All right. My number 13 is a cooperative dice chucking game.
You've already said The Cure.
Yes, I have. I tend to like, I guess, cooperative dice chucking games.
Dice chucking game.
It is... There's multiple versions of it. We still have the original version. Different themes, different IPs. This is Thanos Infinity
Thanos
War.
Rising.
Yeah, Thanos Rising, thank you. Thanos Rising, Infinity Wars. Right? Yeah, Avengers Infinity War was the full tagline. This is one, you've got a statue of Thanos in the center, 3 different regions around the area. Each region holds 3 either heroes or...
Villains.
3 heroes
Minions.
and or
Minions.
Thank you. I cannot talk.
It's that 50-foot wingspan.
It is. Anyway, now I start laughing about that again. All right. Anyway, so you start the game with your base hero. You've got multiple heroes that you can use to lead your team with, and each one is a different icon or color.
Mm-hmm.
So you start off with dice based on that superhero, and you have to decide by putting your token into one of the 3 regions which area you're going to focus on. And then you have to roll Thanos' dice. 1 indicates where he's putting a crystal, or which crystal he's going after first, basically, which Infinity Stone he's going after. The other indicates where he's turning, whether he's going to turn to the left or the right of where he's currently at. And if he happens to end up in your area, then you're taking damage, as does each of the heroes in the region he's targeting.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to simultaneously recruit the heroes that are there and pull them onto your side and away from Thanos, away from Thanos' grasp, while you're trying to damage the minions that are there so that you can hopefully get heroes there later. You take out so many minions, you win the game. You lose too many heroes, you lose the game. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Just an interesting game. We've started playing this on a Lazy Susan because it was always hard to see what was on the other side of the board when you're sitting there. So we put this on a Lazy Susan, and it was perfect. So you just spin the Lazy Susan to the area you want to focus on, and that way it's right in front of you. This is it's another one we've got about a 50-50 ratio of winning, because it can either go really good or it can go really bad, and you can't get anything. You're getting more dice based on the heroes you're recruiting. Some of them, not all of them, some of them will give you more dice. So, for instance, one may say you get an extra dice if you have another red hero in your team. Well, if you don't have any more red heroes, you can't get that extra die until you do. So you'll want to focus on getting a red hero. This has always been one of my favorite cooperatives. I don't know whether it's the dice chucking, it's the push your luck.
This can be it can be a lot of fun to play, but it also can be frustrating when
it's
your
very
dice
swingy.
rolls just don't go your way.
We've had entire games where somebody never got a second hero.
Or got a second hero at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
So, but trivia question
love
for
it.
you. See if you know.
Uh-oh.
It's kind of about the game. The Milano, which is Star-Lord's ship.
Right.
Do you know why he named it the Milano?
It was after Alyssa Milano.
There you go. You already know it. Do you know?
I don't know where I heard that.
Do you know what the ship's name is in the What If series? Do you know what it's called there?
In the What If series, it was actually Black Panther's character that was Star-Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know what it was called there. I don't remember. I have watched the series.
Mandela.
That makes
After
sense.
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. Okay.
And
Did not know that.
I learned this by listening to the Marvel Timeline Rewatch podcast. It's on the same network as we are.
Way
Take
to
a
plug.
listen to it.
Way to plug.
There you go, Justin.
Okay. All right. Anyway, that is my number 13, Thanos Rising, Avengers Infinity War.
My number 13 is a crossover. And it has a woman in it that I cannot stand. This is Kanban EV.
Oh. Good old Sandra.
Yes, glad you said her name because for some reason it was escaping my brain.
He just doesn't like...
I do not like Sandra, period.
He doesn't like supervisors.
I do not like Sandra in Kanban EV. I do not like Sandra in Escape Plan. I do not like Sandra in Bot Factory. Sandra, no, go away. Anyway, so in Kanban EV, as Katie has mentioned before, at her number 76.
That was a while back.
It was a while back, yes. You are designing and building cars. All the way through, you are going through the different production pieces of building a car by testing it, by building it, by designing it, by upgrading them, getting trained. But the whole time, Sandra's there to judge how you're doing. Like
Pretty
almost
much.
anybody else's boss, they just kind of hang out and tell you what you're doing wrong and yell at you.
She targets the people who have had the least amount of training.
Because they've been working the hardest. They don't have time for training. So I'm not going to go into too much about this because we've already discussed it. If you missed it, well, that means you missed that video. Go back and watch it again. But this is, like I said, it's all about building the cars. I think the artwork in this game isn't too fabulous, but I mean, it's not bad. It's functionable.
It's your standard Lacerda board.
Yeah.
It really is.
And that's one of the reasons why it's up here because
I feel
there's
like
just so much. It's one of those games, like I said on one of the other ones I was just talking about, that you have to go to certain areas to be able to do certain things in other areas.
Yeah.
And I love that where, other than those games where I'm going to go here and do this and get 30,000 points. And then you think, well, all I can do is go over here and I'm going to get 2.
Yeah.
This one is, no, I've got to go up here to get this, and then I got to bring it down here to put it over there to make it get this part up here, and then go do this to get my 30,000 points.
Right. No, this is, I like Lacerda games, one, because you do have to really work for those points. But two, the boards are very...
Big?
Well, they're big, but they're not, I don't think they're pretty. They're industrial. I'm trying to think of the word, but no.
Utilitarian?
Utilitarian, I think, is the word
what
I was
you're
trying to
looking
come
at?
up with. But they're very functional.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
They
do what they need to do to
Yes.
make the game fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for the last one. We haven't figured that thing out yet.
What? Oh, yeah.
Weather machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, that is Kanban EV, my number 13.
All right. My number 12 is another cooperative. This is a dungeon crawler. I've already talked about one of the versions back at 94. But this is by far my favorite version of this, and that is Zombicide. Anyway, this is the original version of Zombicide. Really love this one. We were introduced to this fairly early in our gaming career, gaming life, whatever you want to call it, by some friends, and we almost immediately went out and bought our own version, our own copy, I should say, and we have since collected quite a few of them. So... but I absolutely love it. And had Black Plague not already been on my list, I would say this would represent all of them. However, somehow I got both of them on there. But with Zombicide, you are playing out on 12 by 12 tiles that you put together to make a larger board. Everybody picks a character or two, depending on how many players you have. You are chucking dice to take out zombies with the weapons you have found. You will either start the game with or you have found throughout the game. You are trying to find things to create stronger weapons or to find stronger weapons so that you can take out the bigger zombies. the Abomination or the Fatties or the Runners. The Runners can be taken out with one hit, but they're just harder to hit. We still have the original version, and I understand the second version, the second edition, got rid of a lot of the weird rules. The noise tokens, the hitting your friends in the same zone as zombies are.
If you're shooting into another zone,
Right.
you have to hit your teammates first.
Right, which I find silly.
Because that's who I'm going to aim for.
Right, exactly. I figured that the zone is the width of a city street. If my friend's over here, surely I'm not going to hit him if I'm aiming over here at the zombie, you know? But anyway, it got rid of a lot of those weird rules. But I don't want to invest the money on the full second edition. So I'm inclined to just download the rule book and see if we can make our stuff work, because we have everything. We have the dogs and we have the anyway.
We have a lot. We don't have everything. We have a lot.
We have a lot. Yeah. So, but anyway, like I said, it's just one of my favorite dungeon crawls. It is my favorite dungeon crawl, actually. I will pull this out anytime somebody wants to. At one point, our oldest son and I were bored one afternoon and
joy.
pulled out everything we had and made a 28 board map that took 2 weekends to play through. Oh, it was so much fun. And we lost, horribly lost. In the last, when we should have won, we got overwhelmed. So we had the final objective met. We just had to get out, and we couldn't get out. So it was fun. But anyway, that is my favorite dungeon crawl. My number 12, Zombicide.
I was looking to see, do I have any dungeon crawls on here? Not really.
I thought you had Massive Darkness on there somewhere.
Anyway, my number 12 is another crossover. It was your 52.
Okay.
It is the third installment of the Acquire-esque type of games. This is Foundations of Rome.
Okay.
This is everything that she said it was, all about buying the cards that you need to get to the areas that you need to build bigger buildings on, and if you play with certain expansions, steal those areas from other people, or force them to give you that area by saying, oh, here, have a coin.
Have a victory point.
I'm going to take your land now to make 30,000 points. Anyway, so, but
Not
this one
quite
is,
that much.
this one I think most of the draw to it is the way it looks. I mean, when I first saw this, I thought, what is that way overproduced game? It's mostly all way overproduced product there. There's no game, but there is a really cool game in this actually, because it has different modules you can play with, by the thief one and the trading one, and then the monument one where you can build certain monuments, and only one person can have that monument in there that is going to do extra stuff. But this is really cool. They have the Foundations of Metropolis coming out soon, which is going to be basically this game, just a different theme. And it's only going to be the little cardboard polyomino tiles now. It's their way of getting this game out into the mass market, or into the stores, basically, without having to go through Kickstarter, because this game is so expensive to make. Yeah. But yeah, I really like this game. I paid a lot for this game when I could have gotten it for free. But yes, this is Foundations of Rome, my number 12.
Okay, my number 11, last one for this video, is our only card crafting game we have. To my knowledge, it's the only card crafting game we've ever played. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think we played another one. But anyway, this is Mystic Vale. We were introduced to Mystic Vale by some friends, fell in love with it, and ended up purchasing our own copy. And since then, we've picked up quite a bit of it. With Mystic Vale, everybody starts with a hand of, I want to say 12 cards, maybe 16 cards. I don't know. You start with a hand of cards, or a deck of cards, I should say, that some of them have purchasing power on them, some of them have negative effects on them, and some of them are just plain blank. The game is made up of a series of cards that are divided into 3 parts. They're all clear plastic, and each card has 3 pieces to it, or each, well, let me rephrase that. Each card has 1 piece to it of a possible 3. Mm-hmm. And you are taking cards based on their power, based on their cost, whether it be level 1, level 2, or level 3 cards, and you're adding them into your sleeves so that to craft your own cards. So you can craft a card that has 5 purchasing power on it if you want. Some of these extra ability cards have special abilities on them. So they may do something, they may give you extra points at the end of the game if you have so many icons on that finished card when you're done. But you're going through the game trying to get as much purchasing power as you can onto your cards so you can purchase bigger and better pieces to your cards that you can add to your cards. Meanwhile, trying not to find the negative dead space, the negative dead cards, because those will cause you to bust. As you're laying your cards out, there's that push your luck aspect where you have 2 of the dead icons out, but as soon as you flip that 3rd one, then you've busted and you've lost your turn. Your turn's done. I love this game. Mm-hmm. I think it is just so different. There are so many different expansions to it now, and we have so many different card types that give different abilities and different powers and different icons. And you're also, in the meantime, you're trying to collect various icons that you're getting end game scoring cards for that you're pulling from a totally different tableau that are out. So I love this one. We don't play it nearly often enough, but it is a favorite when we pull it out. But that is Mystic Vale, my number 11.
Yep, that card crafting mechanism is in some other games. I just can't recall what they are. So apparently
I
they're
know
not that good.
I know it's been used before. This is just the only one I know of that. Like I said, the only one we've ever played.
Well, this is John DeClaire, if I'm not mistaken, and he's the one that came up with that idea.
Oh, okay.
My number 11, even though she told me that was the last one that we were doing.
The last one of mine.
I'm going to call it now, is a crossover. You'll see it in the next video.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you it's probably around 4 or 5 on her list. I'm not positive because I have not seen her list, but this is all about building a zoo. Did I call it? This is Art Nova. It's the first time I ever played this game. I was like going, this is just, I don't know. I think it's way too long. And I like long games.
It is a long game.
I wasn't really impressed with it the first time. I liked some of the things it did. I was kind of still confused. I think what it was is about the scoring at the end of the game and how things work. Because I was like, how did I end up with minus 20 points when I worked so hard through the entire game and I caused the end of the game. But yeah, this is all about you
couldn't end up with negative 20 if you caused the end of the game.
It's called exaggeration.
Oh, okay.
50-foot wingspan. Anyway, you are building out your zoo by getting different habitats in your zoo to put different animals at. The animals you're getting are on cards that are going in front of you. They're going to do different things when you get them. You're asking the world zoos for help to get in your area to be able to do different things. It's just there's so much to do in this game and so many places to go that you can't just ignore and just go, I'm only going to do this part of the game. You can't do that. You've got to be doing it because you've got to be moving around on 2 different score tracks trying to get points. Anyway, but this just had an expansion, the Marines, I think it was.
Marine...
Something like that.
I'm trying to...
It's right there.
Marine World.
Marine World. So this has the expansion Marine. We have not got that to the table yet, so we're looking forward. We heard it makes the game even better. So, but yeah, that is my number 11. And now the final one of the game.
I said it was the final one of mine.
You just said the final one. That is Art Nova, my number 11.
Okay, and with that, we are done for this episode. Stay tuned. Our top 10 will be out soon.
Until then, we'll see you at the next one. 50-foot wingspan. Good God.
Oh, that thing.
Because at first that just went over my head, and I'm not going, think condors have 50-foot wingspans.
No. Well, the bad thing I said to tuck it, which means something ate it.
Yeah, I didn't hear that part, or I'd even made a big deal out of that one too. It's like, good God, how big is that bird?